Therefore, I am asking, unless you can tell me what for you have come here, you cannot succeed. You wait in the bus stop. So many vehicles keep coming and going, and some buses are. Why? Because of this thing, that you are not conscious enough. Why are you here and what to do? Each of you has the potential, but you will not become. It is not my fault, anybody's fault. It is your personal fault. So that time, 20 years later, when you will see, oh, my friend who was sitting next to me has become so big and I am here. You cannot get that. You cannot get that. See that situation. You go to a movie for 3 hours and then you see it has happened. And then you forget. If you correlate, then you feel sometimes ecstatic and happy, and sometimes you feel very bad, very sorry. Nobody else to be blamed except you. Don't blame your parents, don't blame anybody else. And if you say somebody's luck, somebody's something, each of us has a luck. Each of us has a luck. And if you believe that way, some God, some Bhagwan, some Bhoot, Pret, kuch kar diya, sabke liye hota hai. Equally true for me, equally true for you, equally true for my children, as well as your parents, whatever it is. So, you have to try your best, and you have to give your best. At that can only be done if you decide and if you think what you are supposed to do, why you have come here. And that is true for every sphere. When you go to a class and what do you want to do there. Don't blame your teacher. It doesn't matter. Do you think your teacher ever used where they were children mobile phone and now each of you is using? I didn't see a computer till I went abroad in 1989, 88, 89. How am I using a computer? Therefore, if your fundamentals are strong, if you know what you are supposed to do, that you only can do, we are only supporting staff. Even if I do not know, that is not going to help you. If I eat a sweet, you know it is a sweet. Are you getting the taste? Are you getting the taste? If I eat a rasgulla, you know it is a rasgulla, right? But would you get the rasgulla taste? Then what is the use? You have to earn it. Alright? So this is why I started with, you have to have an aim, what you are trying to do, what for you are here. So you are not here to learn a class, a subject. What can I do in 1 hour, 1.5 hours each? Therefore, my point is, you have to always think what you are doing. You will get an answer automatically. Sometimes you will get stuck. Go to your teachers, go to your parents, and there are no dull people around. And if you are not getting hit, you have to go 20 kilometers, go 20 kilometers. Who is stopping you? For example, this program which is being organized, you have come far off place. Now you have to be conscious enough. Your coming, your food, your stay, my coming from Delhi here to give this lecture, everything is being paid by taxpayers' money. I am not paying from my pocket. Who is taxpayers? You are not paying tax at this moment. Your parents, your uncle, your brother and others are paying. So we have to be conscious about it. You have a right because you are citizens, you are young. You have a right that we have to give it to you. And that is what we are doing. But you have to have the thing to accept it. If you have a cup of 100 milliliter of water taking, can you take 200 milliliter of water or milk or something? Means what? You have to have so much of capacity. Even if I or anybody else tells you, supposedly I have more information, if I give you, will you be able to accept it? Acceptance will depend on not only the space. If you put in a cup air, will it remain in the cup? Means what? It has to have not only the space, right atmosphere. If it is instead of cup the same space plastic wherefrom the air cannot flow out, it will stay. But if you take a cup made of raw mud, can it take water? It will dissolve. It has to be polished, it has to be cooked properly, hardened up. So, first thing you have to have your idea of what you are doing. Not only this, wherever you do, whatever you do. If you want to play game, do it with right spirit. Do you think Tendulkar is less compatible, this Saurav Ganguly is less important person, or his brain is less important as compared to what we are? He is far more, throughout the world knows him. At the same time, who was a great person, Biju Patnaik ji? So many people knows him. You talk about Ramakrishna, so the world knows him. He might not have got a degree like what we have. How did they get it? So each of us has that potential provided we are utilizing in a proper manner. So what you have to have a focus. Then you have to broaden your horizon to accept, and then to culture. These three very, very important points. Alright? You don't have to listen to me, you don't have to listen to everybody unless you think it is correct. And for that, you have to know what you are doing. How do you think what you are thinking is correct? Why do you believe your teacher? That somebody is giving you marks 5 out of 10, another person is giving 8 out of 10. You have a confidence in the teacher. Sometimes, out of care, you accept it. Why do you accept your parents? Why do you accept somebody? Why do I accept somebody is my mother or father? During I was born, did I know who was my mother or father? The society told me that person is your mother or father, and therefore you accept it. So, partly at certain time you have to first have confidence and grow. Then purify your brain. And once it is there, then you are in a position to accept it. All these activities, what you have to do, only thing you have to accept of somebody's society's help to come to a stage. Alright? What I will do now, well, I have continued, I have started. Who is the organizer and all, I do not know. So, should I continue or there is a because daughters they were here, so I started just talking to them. Okay, so what I will do is, I do not want to give a speech or give a sermon. Because you can very well say tomorrow, we'll go past the you can tell against anybody else. But, under quote unquote, under the circumstances, if what you do is acceptable by others, then one example, what are we doing, whom do you think great person, what do you want to do in life? See, what is there? You want to live, that is for oxygen and air and food is fine. So why is it you want to study? Why is it you want to study? पढ़ाई नहीं करेंगे तो क्या है? कोई आपको 2 लाख रुपए सैलरी दे देगा. What do you want? Then would you like to study or not? Is study only to earn money to live or something else? Something else. What is it? Sorry? Say louder, doesn't matter. Yeah? Better. Qualitatively different life. What is qualitatively different life? Well, I can go and jump on the sea. This is a qualitatively different life. What does it mean? Me, better. Please sit down. You can sit down and talk to me. That's no problem. Anyway, means what? See, these are simple things, right? But you cannot express properly. Therefore, always question to yourself. This is very important. I understand this is our job as a teacher for you to be trained. This is where I, as a prime important thing, first as a parent and then the school teacher. But whatever the situation, things are not happening, but some people are becoming. I am here to enlighten in that manner. But don't think this person who is talking, even if you think is somebody doing good, this is not your limit. This can never be your limit. Be very careful. Whatever I am saying, you can accept it if it happens to you that it is saying right. But even if you accept it, don't ever think that this is your limit. Alright? So why we are studying another thing, what we say qualitative life means what we mean by have a generally good life which is acceptable by the society. We live primarily for two things. One, first thing when somebody says, okay, good. I'll give you a very crude example, but don't take it otherwise, but think on that. This is how we live, that is primarily in the society, low category. That is how we are going and doing great things or something, what others will say. Second way comes that you have to earn living. And that is why quite often, if somebody is stealing, wants to do when others are not looking at it. Means what? Somebody is conscious कि ये मुझे नहीं करना चाहिए, लेकिन छुपा के करते, अरे वो तो देख नहीं रहे हैं. उसमें what people are doing it, what each of us is doing it, we are not considering this person is also looking at this person. The moment you think you are one of the persons in the society, because suppose there is a nuclear disaster, do you think I will be spared that you will be affected, or each of us will be affected? If there is a flood here, if you are affected, I am also getting affected. Means what? When we have to decide what to do and what not to do, I must consider I am among one of you. If we think the society will become better, and why we do things? Then other person will say, okay, this person has done good. And each of us want to do that. The other person will get good or bad. So if that is so, there is nothing that you have to do this science or that science. You cannot do English honors or you cannot do social sciences. It is not the point. You have to decide what you think, what gives you pleasure. If it gives you pleasure, then always do it. When we are doing this, how do you think? Do you think this chair is understanding what I am saying? Very obvious, right? How do you say no? How do you say no? No life? Okay. I am sleeping. I have life or not? Then if something is happening, do you understand? It is not only the life, right? Means what? See, when I am asking, you think very simple question and you are answering, the answer you yourself think is not correct. So I am not saying anything. Similarly, you can question, you can answer. When you get the answer, try to look for it. You yourself will become your master. Still, you will not get certain things. Go to your teacher. If you do not have teacher next door, these days you have so much information. When we were kids, we had to go even for 40-50 kilometers. irrespective of what I have done. It's not necessary I have to tell you what I did. But you can ask somebody. People might have gone 30, 40 kilometers a day to learn, even just 20, 30 years back when I was a student. I was a student just 25, 30 years back. But I'll tell you, now I am more student than what I was real that time, a degree holder student. I am more of a student now than that time because I have to understand what 100 people are going to ask me. So that 100 student is within me. That is what it is. So, when we are talking about these things, we are understanding by, not like, by our consciousness, by our so-called brain. I am going to talk to you about that brain. Alright? And I did refer to you. So that is what the title is, what brain is. And I did refer to you if I was sleeping. My research topic is sleep. How, which part of the brain try to make you go to sleep and not, and that too within that sleep, that particular phase of sleep when somebody dreams. So that I cannot say what is dream and what not. But that is my research topic, how brain works at what time when somebody dreams. But I will not talk to you all those things. For that you need a different level. Today I will talk about what the brain is. I will give some example here and there. Now somebody has to tell you what is the time I have. Who will tell me? How long do I have to speak? 4 o'clock. Oh, 4 o'clock is already almost. How long do I have time?
As long as you want.
I don't have any problem. You can go out, you can come in, but don't disturb others. Right? Because I have come all the way from there. I was told to come here for you people. If you want, I will be there and I will speak. The idea is what the brain is and how things are regulated. And at the end I will tell you what you think is great, and quite often we do not have confidence. I will show you evidence that even staying over here doing gradually step, what world is accepting what we have done. What you read in the textbook, as somebody from Sasamudra Park, the pen, you can do here itself, I will give you that evidence. That what I have given, my lab has given, that is in the textbook. So you can do that. You are much intelligent, much better off student than what I am. I am also coming from a village. I used to walk 2 miles, 3 kilometers every day, each way to go to school. And you can do that. Alright? Let's understand. So I will talk about this. If you want, you have any question, please talk to me. Those who do not want, you are free to go. But I will be very, very angry if somebody is disturbing next person. And that choice is mine. If I say that you are disturbing, I say that has to be accepted. Alright? Okay. When we talk about this brain, there are certain myths. Many of us say, like it is written here, something that, okay, we use half our brain or 10% of our brain or something like that. See, some of these that we use 10% of our brain, some of you might have learned. Okay, now how many of you are coming? You are class 11, 12 students, right? 11. How many are from biological science and some physics, chemistry, maths? Both students are only biology or all mixed? Mixed. Therefore, why I ask this, not to know who is what. As I told my initial inaugural that time talk, don't differentiate. Because you cannot. If you say that my hand, now whether it is biology or physics or maths or chemistry, what is it, my hand? What? Somebody tell me, yes. What is my hand? This is what? This is biology. Why? See, this is nail, it is protein. protein is carbohydrate, nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, all made up of. Now, if you say this hand, these fingers are moving, you can evolve a mathematical equation. Do you know robotic surgery? Nowadays, you can do surgery. You can sit over here and do a surgery in Bhubaneswar in the proper operation table. Even for athletes and Olympic winners, you can be one of them and do things. Therefore, I ask, it can go to that level. Do it whatever you want, but don't say because of this I don't need that. If you like something, like it, you need an infrastructure for all understanding. Alright? So here there are some myths like 10% of the brain, but that is not true. Or at the same time that is true in the sense, in the brain, suppose I am looking at you or you are looking at me, the light rays are going through the eyes and it reaches a specific region in the brain, like here. At that time, it is not going here because there are specific brain neurons
which are located at this place. Now, in our brain, if I am moving this finger, certain neurons are active. And if I am moving even next to this finger, some other neurons are active. If it was not, how do you know that specificity? So brain is like that. And I will gradually bring you to that level. Yes, you have a question. Okay. Can you please note down this question and ask me later? Because at this moment, if I have to say, I have to say many things. Right? Then that means I am at the end of the talk. Alright? So note down this question and let us bring it later on. So this is something which is not very true. Okay. Then the question is, then is it that we are using 100% of our brain? That is also not equally true. Now let us give an example. If a bus is moving, is the whole bus moving or only the wheel moving? Whole bus moving, wheels are not moving. Wheels are also moving. But the wheels are actively moving, but the seats of the bus, they are not moving, right? You don't see them moving. It is like that. For a specific function, a specific neuron. But after one brain is active, to the extent, even when you are sleeping, the brain is not active. Brain is not sleeping. If the brain is sleeping, it will be dangerous, and there are certain diseases which are known as sleep death. And if that time, if the brain forgets respiration or brain forgets how to pump the blood out, one is dead. So brain cannot forget that. So brain never ever sleeps. Now some part of the brain takes little rest, other part becomes more active. Alright? Intelligence. Can it be determined by the brain size? Well, elephant brain is so big, and the mouse brain is so small. Have you ever seen a mouse brain? Have you seen your own brain? What is saying no? What will happen if you see your own brain? Can you ever see your own brain? Can you? Can you? Why? Very careful. Why? Why can't you see your own brain? Huh? That's right. If you take out your brain, you are no more brain. Right? That is good. You cannot take out your own brain and see. But how do you see? You can take an image of your brain. If you take an image of your brain, then you can say, okay, this part is this, and that is what you do when the normal or absorb or any other thing. It is like that. So, once there is an intelligence that if you talk about, we generally, why is it always moving? Okay, since these are different sides of cortex, so what happened during evolution? Depending on the environment what we need, many of our things have evolved. Our brain has also evolved. Means what is the need of it? And there comes cortex that convolutions which I will show you, that then tells you how intelligent not only humans, how life has evolved and one has become more intelligent and doing that type of job. Now here it is. Is there any relationship of the total brain weight with total brain weight? Here, like that. 0.25 grams. Mouse only 0.5 grams. Elephant? Both. Oh, this is brain weight and this is the body weight, 5,000 each. Like that we are saying. 5,000 grams, so this is 5 kg elephant's brain, 1.4 kilogram for the human one, like that. And with the mouse, only mouse 0.5 grams and 0.25 grams, the much smaller stream. But there may be some other thing for humans. But general thing, you see, the mouse can do a burrowing. Can humans do it? But we think we are great, intelligent, right? So what is intelligence there? Now if you draw another thing, brain weight is a percentage of body weight. Even if elephant body brain weight is 5 kilograms as compared to say humans, as compared to body weight, brain weight here is 2.33%. But elephant is 0.2% only. And here, for mouse or 3%, 3.5%. That is how he doesn't think. Human is more intelligent as compared to sheep. So that is also not true. See, these are again from some source wherefrom I have picked up this book. You all can get it. Alright? Is there any relationship with encephalization? What is encephalization? Encephal is brain in the Latin language. So, as the brain that way has evolved, brain weight by body weight to the power 0.69, this is the formula they have used. There you see this is maximum 0.7 for human. And therefore they have become more intelligent. This is because of the weight versus the curvatures that one has got. It has accommodated more and more neurons and what we call their connectivity. And now it is into a much more conversant with computing and parallel processing. Eventually you will see what I will show you how brain does parallel processing. Question is, what was the necessity of having brain? Do you think when life evolved, brain evolved first? How has the evolution taken place? Does the ant have brain? Small ant? Does it have brain? It does. Okay. Now, what frog? It has. Elephant has brain. Human, we have brain, right? What about an amoeba? It doesn't have brain. Okay, what about plants? Do they have brain? Okay. So if that is so, do you think they think? Does the amoeba think? You think? No? Okay. Now what do you think? Therefore I told you to read this modern job. All of you have seen some experiment that if you give amoeba and here, suppose you give some chemical which is harmful to amoeba. What will amoeba do? What will amoeba do? I will throw a big photo. If you mind, let everybody see. What she says is bad, alright? What she meant, absolutely true. What she meant, that amoeba will move this side. Correct? Why would amoeba move that side? Because it is happens. So now, do you agree amoeba thinks or it doesn't think? Huh? What? No? It doesn't think. Now what is the difference between these two? Amoeba moves and when we put our hand in the fire or we get a pinprick, removed. What is the difference? Is weight involved? So think on these things, right? Now let me tell you what it is. So what is happening? When this thing comes in contact with the amoeba, it will move. Now, if it has to move, what was the necessity of the time? This chemical comes here to this part, thinks that there is danger. So this could have taken care of like this. Means if I put my hand over fire, do I run away or I remove my hand? So it could have removed this at a distance. Purpose would have been served. Right? Now, suppose here is fire, I am touching it and I feel hot, I remove my hand, but then the fire is coming towards me. What do? Once it comes, I remove my hand, but how far can I go? I can't go beyond this. So if the fire is still coming, I have to move. Right? So this is what the amoeba will do. If this is moving, if it has to move like this, how long can it squeeze? Can it become like this? Yes or no? Yes. How long can you put air in a football? What will happen? It will burst. Think now. If it is trying to move internal all the plasma and the salt and every other thing. See, I have told you at the beginning, final judgment is mine. I will throw you out. Those who do not want, I will fully respect you and you are free to go on. You may not see each of you, but I am seeing each of you. And the final judgment is mine. I will not listen to anybody. So if you do not like, you are free, the door is open. Allow me to respect you. Your respect is in your hand. If you want respect from me, behave properly. So if it comes, the same amount of fluid material cannot withstand A. B, its osmotic pressure will go up. It will start absorbing. It will burst out. Second thing, think of a situation if was like this, if this has to move like this, once this is trying to move and this has to move, can this remain static? If I am moving, if there is a pinprick here, am I jumping over or this part is saying that you move your leg and walk? If that is there, I am not jumping and walking, right? So here when the animal is getting a sense it has to move, it is not that it is jumping over here and going. It is saying at this part, move this side. So this is moving, the whole organism is moving. Right? If this organism is moving means what? This part of amoeba is giving a signal to this part and this part. Okay, there is the problem, you move. Similarly, this part can give signal that side. Means what? Signaling mechanism was there. Even prehistoric when neuron was not involved. I do not have to say what is neuron. You yourself will understand why neuron is. That is way that you should understand. You should love study. Not by rote. And if I cannot give you this thing in my 2 hours talk, how to enjoy studying, then I am a failure. You have to enjoy studying. Doesn't matter what you are studying. If you don't like neuron, don't study. You like plant, go and study plant. You like star, go and study plant. But real knowledge is not star or plant or this. I have to give you here in this type of talk how you should proceed to do any stuff. With heat, you start moving. You have nuclear power generator, with nuclear you start moving. So, if you understand this basic principle, tomorrow you may have a potential to generate this energy to move that with something solid. Suppose you could do. So you don't have to think, और क्या है 4 पॉइंट था 2 पॉइंट याद नहीं आ रही है. But if you understand this fundamental, you will try to look for that. Think of a situation. See, everybody was a child, I was also a child. मम्मी को छुपा छुपा के घर में खाना सबको हमने किए हैं आप भी करते हो. That means we have intelligence. Those children who are very, very sharp, they do more stupid things. Alright? And there are stupid things, stupid people as well. Do you know what stupidity I had? I must tell you that. I was very intelligent student, right? Can you hear this is my intelligence. Each of us has more than one name, right? School you have on your copy and all official documents, some name, like my name is B.A. Mallik, Mallik. I had idea, class 8th or so that nobody in my house knows my name back. Because everybody in my home, my mother, parents, uncle, chacha, chachi, everybody calls my home name. So they would not know my school name. So बाहर जाके जितना बदमाशी करना है करो, किसी को मार दो, पीट दो, किसी का कुछ और कर दो, फेंक दो, ब्रेक करो, स्कूल वाला नाम बोल के घर आओ. Even if somebody has to complain to my father, who would know? He wouldn't know my real name. There is no sense in copying. So I am that very intelligent person. Alright? This is honestly, I have that type of idea. Okay, now this school level. Even yes, when I study vision, अभी आपको सुने बताया गया ना, vision when you see things and it is ulta, you hold it in your retina, but still in the dream it is sida. Literally I went out after the class to see if the page is ulta or not. I thought I am great intelligent, I am get Nobel Prize, we जाके देखेंगे the leaves are ulta here. And I will discover something. I ran out of the class when I was taught by the teacher. To see really ulta here. I read this thing that no, it is direct like that. So then I started thinking how do we see. So there are many things like that. And not that I don't do any stupid things till now. I do that. But that is not to say. Okay, so what we are coming to, when you get that, you have these channels. What will happen when you start getting more and more bigger organisms? These channels are there to transport. But it was taking.
Now, whenever, see, earlier I have given you a slide where what is intelligence or how to live in the system. This is what is here. Whatever you say as a behavior, how to conduct, how to express and respond to a stimulus. What is a stimulus? Like if you give a pinprick here, if the stimulus I will remove my hand. That is my behavior. But here it is an external one. You are giving pinprick here. But it can be something you are thinking, you are very happy that you have become first class first. You can think. At the same time, you can think, oh, what will happen? Oh, good dekha tha raaste mein. You will be sad. So that is an internal, inner meaning. So it can be inner as well. So, stimulus at this black dot is your body. And the red one, suppose this is universe. This is a modular expression. What I am showing you as the red one is the whole universe. And the black line is your body. So when this stimulus is there, if you think something, suppose, why do we get so angry if somebody abuses me? Somebody is not slapping me. If somebody slaps you or you get hurt, see, very simple example. When you go on the road or even otherwise, somebody gives you push by accident, you don't feel bad. But if somebody is pushing you, even your friend, you get very angry. Number one. Number two, think of another situation. Somebody is your very good friend. If you जबरदस्ती आपसे धक्का दे दिया, you fell down, अरे चलता है. And if you don't like your friend, कल झगड़ा हो गया, थोड़ा सा भी कुछ किया, you go and slap. him or her, right? So how does our brain work? Why do we have that? What is animosity? Do we know that? क्यों कोई दुश्मन है? आप और हम बहुत अच्छा दोस्त हैं. कल आप हमें वो टॉफी मांगा था, नहीं दिया, दो बच्चे झगड़ते हैं ना. Oh, कट्टी, all this. Why does it happen? We will talk something today. Does anybody know that? We do not know that. So this is what is the body. And if something has to happen, there has to be a receiver. Who will receive that stimulus? Like, think of a situation. All of us, when we were children, we were not drinking tea or coffee. Even दूर से एक बार गरम लग गया, माता जी थोड़ा गरम पिला दे और कभी हाथ से छूते नहीं. Right? I think most of us have that in family. But when जब बड़े होते हैं, then what do? We can drink hot tea, hot coffee, hot milk and everything. How does it happen? Have you thought of? You can apply this system to generate even a machine. Apply physics there, but you need to know biology there. Because you don't need to know biology. You can use biology to do that. At the end, I will show you how we have modeled even mathematically how the brain functions. And all done here. I'll tell you at the end. So this happens, there has to be a receiver. That means once something there, pinprick is there, it goes to something which is brain, which decides what to do. So here that is comparator part. So if there is a pinprick, there is a receptor which takes the signal to the brain, which decides how much to do. If there is a pin here and then there is a pinprick, I can remove my hand here. I don't take the hand here, right? But if it is very hard, very hot, I remove a channel, right? So that depends on who decides that. That is decided by this comparator and integrator. And this integrator is done by so-called brain. Alright? And once this is done, this receiver can be neural or non-neural. Conductor can be neural or humoral, non-neural, means through the blood. Comparator is only neural. Brain is primarily neural. But when the signal has to go again as a conductor and effector through which it works. Alright? How is the brain organized? Here when I say this neural, I am going to talk to you about this neuron. This is evolutionary how gradually the brain is developed. You know, right now we do not have a neural network. Neural network starts from Hydra, evolutionary. If anybody wants, who says that you have to do that, you can do evolutionary study from here. And you can do your research and you can come out with good paper or good information which we do not know as yet. Use modern technology to bring home this. It is not that you have to do only research which you do not have here. That is not true. But that does not mean that you are not supposed to do high-end research which somebody else is doing. This is now evolutionary brain which I have already shown. This is from pigeon to human, how it has grown, brain looks like. This is again from, this is lobster. Oops, sorry, excuse me. Lobster to fishes to frog to birds. This is a standard thing the school books will also. Now, this is brain. If you cut, it has different lobes. Those who are in 11th or 12th, I do not know which class, but it is there in your book as well. It is made up of neurons. This is a single unit. Like as you know, for the body, unit is cell. For the brain, the unit is a neuron. Now, difference is, for any other cell, it is as small as only this portion even without all these projections. The unique part of neuron is it has a cell body, it has some projections like fingers which is there here. These we call dendrites, which receives information, and then it can be a few micrometer only or more than 1 meter, up to almost 1.56 meter, like elephant and giraffe. The neuron can be as long as that. This is what it is. Can you imagine 1 millimeter or less and 1 meter? How many times? Millimeter to meter, how many times? Huh? Yeah, 1000 and 10 to the power what? That's good. See how intelligent you people are. So you all of you are telling correct. Right? So not that you are not intelligent. After all, you people have been selected from several thousand students and only 50, 60 have been brought here. So don't underestimate yourself. Though you may not overestimate yourself, but you should not underestimate yourself. That is again bad. Have confidence in you that yes, you can do things. Doing wrong is no crime. Doing illegal is crime. Anyay and galti mein difference hai. I do not know your Oriya language. Anyay, where there is a nyay gyan, and then you are doing something which is anyay. Galti, each of us is to make. Otherwise, how will you do right things? We learn from our mistakes. So, this is a neuron. Our brain has 100 billion neurons. Do you know that? 10 to the power 12 approximately. And each of them can make about 100 to 1000 synapses. I will tell what the synapses are. So it can be 10 to the power 15 synapses. And now you know parallel processing. I will show you how parallel processing and how complex it becomes. And therefore we can do so many things. Each of you can, probably some of you is thinking, oh, at what time to go home? Oh, some friend is waiting outside. Though you are listening to me. Sometimes you are thinking, what will happen after 5 days to go back? So many things we are parallel, our brain is parallel processing. So if it is true, and if you can think even 5 things, can you imagine if you can concentrate those 5, how great person you can become? You have heard name of Shakuntala Devi. How does she do so much calculation? Does the science know? We do not know. Again, she has the same number of brain neurons and all the synaptic connections. To the extent, you know, Einstein's brain was smaller than our brain. It's about 1.3 kg, and here I showed it's about 1.4, 1.5, that's what we have. So there are many things to learn, and you have the capability. So here is what this, as a neuron I showed you. This neuron, this is a textbook one. I know you are student children, I know you are coming from different fields, so I have brought these slides. And this is not the first time I am giving these things to inspire students. At least 10 lectures in 10 different places in the country. I have met with people like you. So partly you may have a specific question, but in general I have seen in different parts of the country, be it here in Orissa, be it Kashmir, be it Raipur, be it in South, I have seen people of different types and students like you. So this neuron, it has different parts. Now, primarily it has 3 parts which I have already told. Cell body, these are dendrites, this is axon, and this is terminal. Now, a cell is a cell is a cell. Means what? What I mean is, neuron also has a nucleus. It has all metabolic properties. It takes energy. It has glucose, the metabolism thing. Only thing, neuron is not divided. That's a different story, but most of you would know neuron is not divided. But see the difference then. From birth till end of life, the neuron number remains. Then how is it happening? But these days we know, yes, certain parts of neurons, they are divided. Like hippocampus, where there is memory formation. But you must know the neuron, though they are not divided, these which are synapse formations, these terminals, I will show you, these are impinging on other neurons, what we call synapse. Like here dendrites, other neurons will come and impinge on this. They can form new or can withdraw. And that is causing different type of communication between one neuron to another. Alright? That can change. That we know. Now this neuron has electrical signaling. And there is high-grade physics people have to do. And how do we do that? You can put electrodes which are known as a microelectrode, which you have to insert here and here. This is what say inject current and recording voltage. These are known as intracellular recording. And thereby you will know how across the neuronal membrane there is electrical signaling, and that signaling propagates and gives another neuron. But basically what it is known as a neuron as an RC circuit, resistive current circuit, that you can get. This is what here it happens. Why that happens? Through the membrane there are channels through which ions flow through, which can be represented with this type of Nernst equation. You don't have to study, but at least some people, somebody may be interested out of this 100 audience, one or two students may be interested. So I am giving which is known as Nernst equation. If you don't understand, forget it. But it will be at the back of your mind. Alright? Which can take you through. So based on this, you can write something as an equation. Okay. And therefore, Rn is a membrane which has a resistance. Whenever you are talking about electricity, the fundamentally it has to fit it into Ohm's law. R equal to mv, or C equal to dYr. Well, E, V, whatever, somebody says E and V, I or C, whatever you do, that is Ohm's law, because we have it not as a, therefore that remembers me, I still remember that as a school child like you, but it goes. But there is a minor difference. Do you know what the difference between resistance and impedance? There is a minor difference, but it works in general, alright? So I am not going to all those nitty-gritty small things. There is a minor difference. Anyway, so you can represent this through this. So this is a circuit, so neuronal membrane and electrical thing as a neuron you can represent as a circuit like that. In an active membrane, some conductance vary with respect to the time and membrane potential. That means membrane has electrical potential where it can vary depending on this. Okay, so once you get it, if you stimulate, there are ionic exchange like it is shown here. Ion flow, and then there are pumps. So can you imagine that you have pump? Most of you have seen pump. You put on the switch and there are pump, water comes out from under the ground. That is also pump. Here also in a cell, what you cannot see even in eyes, there are pumps which catches some ions and they are pushing this side and that side. It is so precise. Once the pump is active, and that takes some energy, and you can precisely calculate how much kilokelvin that is required, how much energy it is required. That energy is coming from, in the cell, biologically, energy comes from ATP. Mitochondria is energy generated. But Like if you say energy is coming from, of course it is voltage in our these things. But if you say it is coming from thermal power, power station is where it is generated. Mitochondria is generated. But actually in the cell, it is coming from ATP. Other smaller energies can come from GTP and other things. These are small. Maximum is coming from ATP. But that you can study later. That's not that important. But you know that there are some energy storehouses, from there it comes. So what it happens, if the potential becomes very strong, what you say action potential, which is very strong like that. If it becomes that high, then if it becomes so hard, very strong, then it propagates along this axon. That means when you put on the switch and the light gets on, right? Do you think if you put on switch here and the light gets on here, which you think very instantaneous, suppose it is 2 milliseconds. But can there be a switch that you are putting it on here and the light will be on in Delhi? Can it be? Somebody says no. Do you agree, all of you? Yes. Somebody says no. What? You agree or you don't agree? Don't agree. That is, you agree that you can put on switch here and the light can be on in Delhi? Huh? You agree. You do not agree. You are saying both sides. But at least what I am saying, others who are laughing, they are not courageous enough to say yes or no. So I would appreciate this person who is at least saying something. At least he is saying something. If he is wrong, he will learn. Others, I don't know what to say. They do not have confidence even to say wrong. This is bad. Alright? So, how do you say that you cannot? How are you listening to your mobile phone from across the globe? So, see, you are not using your brain. If you remember in the third or fourth slide I had shown, use it or throw it. You cannot store your brain that way. If you do not use it, it is of no use. You are not applying your mind. You are not applying. Not necessarily you have to apply for this subject. If you do not want to apply, then what will happen? Apply whatever you like. You like music, go and do it. How great is Pandit Jasraj, Pandit Ravi Shankar? Do you think they are less important or they are less and we are, if I have a degree, I am much greater? Impossible. I cannot reach that stage. Who is preventing you to you have great people, even in Odisha, you had great people like Kelucharan Mahapatraji, a great dancer. How much history about you know about your, even within the last 50 years here? You heard great people's life. Okay, so there are signal and signal will propagate. Now remember one thing here when I was saying, therefore I have brought the board. When neuron was evolved, I have come to this neuron, then if a neuron is becoming long enough, do you know there is any system where there is no energy loss? Even Carnot cycle in physics, there are energy losses. You do not have any system where there is absolute no loss. So when
system was developed, see what is happening if a signal goes from here to there. Suppose you have sent a missile and if it is wrong, I have thrown this there. And if I decide after it has reached halfway, can I stop it? Oh, it was a mistake. Can I stop it? Can I stop it? Now, how can I do that? How can I stop that? How can I stop that? Don't you read newspaper and other things? How are the ugly sides and other things? Chandipur, Odisha, somewhere it is there. Where from it is all the tests are done. Don't you think that if you can become a scientist, doesn't it come to your mind that if I was in that place, how many of, yeah, go ahead. Yes, you can say what? So how do you stop that? Suppose you have already left trigger and you have started going. How do you stop that? How do you destroy it? So what is the mechanism? So I'm asking. This is a very high-handed answer. This is just a minute. This answer is incorrect. That means what you are trying to say. Why did you start saying if you say that you are not a scientist? That is what I am asking. What is the idea you are saying? For example, I will come to you. See, this is what is your approach is not right. You will never learn. I'm sorry to say that, but reason being, if you have a missile which is going at 100 kilometers per hour, you are saying another thing at 100 kilometers per hour? This is what you are not saying. So precisely I was asking what is the principle, what will you do? Conserve. What is to do momentarily? So momentum, velocity, same thing. Right, so you need something which will go faster. Now, no, you are not saying that. Don't mix up issues. What you are saying, if you say momentum, if you say something, what to have much possibility, you have to have lesser range. Then only you can increase speed, so that it has to go much faster and can travel. How do you do that? There are other things will come. There I agree we are not the scientists, we have to, I am saying in principle what will you do? that means you have to have another mechanism, right? Okay. Then I will come back here. Yeah, you are saying something. So in order to divert, you can have several things. See, the difference of your picking up, choosing words and saying, even if you know, that is what the beauty of language. Even if you know, if you cannot express, nobody will understand. How does it? Even if you know doesn't matter. You can keep on shouting that I've done what prize. Who cares? Nobody would believe, your friends would not believe. It's important how you choose and how you express. What he says, see the point, everybody would, I'm not saying no, 200 people are sitting here. The way he was saying, it was not making sense as compared to what he's saying. Nobody is asking that to deliver a scientist tomorrow. You see, unless, therefore I said, first thing is your concept and philosophy. Once you know what to do, then you can try to do that. If you do not know what to do. That is what she said. I will divert or go in traffic, or you can avoid it, or whatever you can use it, or whatever it is. You can then use instrument or radio frequency, you can use megahertz frequency or whatever. That's the second step. So, what I was saying before, because I know it's the word to force. So here, once things were going, evolutionary, then what nature did, because there was loss of energy and other things, and you cannot regulate that. Therefore, what nature did, you created a smaller neuron, or you created another neuron which will regulate this. This is an example. That means a neuron will communicate with another neuron so that even if regulated this, another part can come and regulate this. And this can be in turn regulated by another part. And if this was regulating this, if this is excitatory and this is excitation here, but if this is an inhibitory, it can regulate, and therefore this output will depend on sum total of this algebraic sum of this. And because of that, we can have very finer handwriting. Like for example, I am writing A. If you cannot see from a distance, suppose I am reading A. This A means some muscles are contracted and some are inhibited, and therefore this is a very precise regulation. But if one part is damaged, then what? It becomes like that. That is what is disease disorder. Have you seen those old age with Parkinson's disease? That is what it happens. Now, if somebody becomes engineer, can you help that person by getting a device? And I'm sure each of our family there will be some old person or some diseased person. And therefore somebody says, oh, this has happened, so I want to become this. Be it engineer, be it doctor, be it somebody or carpenter or something. Or biologists can try to help what happens there in the brain. So this is what type of thing what happens. What disorder here. So, here when this action potential goes, what is happening here, if it was connected like this, if a neuron is here, and this was connected to your next another neuron, if this electrical signal was passing like this through and through, then any signal in the green one will also pass that way. But can you do on the same road two buses that will collide each other? Therefore, what nature has done, one neuron this will release neurotransmitter, a chemical, which will act on another neuron, and then is the specificity, the receptor. Now this specificity you may remember already here chemical was there. Electricity doesn't have any specificity. If there is a conductor, electricity will flow. Doesn't matter whether there is a copper wire or aluminium wire or gold wire. Some resistance, therefore it will differ some speed. But if it is a chemical which gives specificity, suppose here, if there is a chemical R1 and here there is another receptor which is R2. So, if a chemical, this green one comes to activate R2, even if R1 is there, it will not be activated, therefore that specificity comes. All these psychiatric disorders, there are specific chemicals which part of the brain and which neuron is activating each other. And therefore our brain functions differ. Okay, with this principle now I will quickly go through. How big is the neuron? The neuron can be as they are so small and doing all these functions in about 1 cubic centimeter. There can be about 50 million neurons. Can you imagine? That means what I have been saying from the very beginning revealing what type of potential you have. A neuron can make about 10,000 synapses. What the computer engineers are talking about complex regulation and making connectivities, and our brain has to the power such type of connectivities. Okay, so here I will quickly go without wasting, without talking about all these. Now, so in a neuron, these ions flow and these action potential generates means what? A signal like wire switch on and the light goes on, but the pulse goes. Here also pulse is generated. Means what? Each of us in our body, electrical signaling is going on all through the body. But we are unable to pick it up because of several reasons. Now, if you can think of, do you know nowadays it is there, have you read the newspaper? The prototype has already been made that you will charge your mobile phone through when the respiration is going on. Have you read the newspaper? Huh? Yes, sir. So somebody else read it. So can you think of that, okay, like somebody is laughing and somebody is crying and therefore some energy is generated and you can charge something? Who said that you cannot do? And we won't like to walk like you have this Apple computer whose name is there, Bill Gates. Bill Gates didn't go to college and all. This signal comes and at the end it does something, this chemical is released and this chemical then acts on the next neuron and then it propagates. And this can be seen here like this. If one neuron comes and connects the other neuron, which you call synapse, see here it will go as a red line. See here. Red line? Yeah. This signal is coming and going to the next neuron. This signaling goes like that. But some electrical signaling that comes and releases neurotransmitter and flows. Okay. Now these neurons connect to other neurons. Like some neurons, one neuron goes and connects to many neurons, and here many neurons are converging on one neuron. And once that happens, see this type of connection goes on in a neuron. These are diagrams. This is the type of connections are there in our brain. And what each of us is sitting here, talking here, thinking all these connections are there. Because of this type of connections, we are able to sit, otherwise we will fall. If this connection was not working, these are reverberation. If it is not there, I cannot keep standing here. I will fall. Always it is sending signals. Okay. And I said at the beginning, this has, like any other cell, protein synthesis and other things that happens. And once it is there, see, it works like that. If this is a neuron, action potential, it connects to another neuron, which is enlarged here. This is the protein synthesis and they are synthesized here. It comes to the next neuron and does the job which is shown here. One electrical signal comes that releases some chemicals. That chemical, if there is a specific receptor on this blue one, like this blue one, then the action potential, that signal propagates and does the job. Like if I say, here I am teaching, so it comes a book in 2 lines. You have to understand that. What you read in the books, only 2 lines or 5 lines, maybe sometimes 10 to 30 years of work. This is what it is. This part is almost 10, 12 PhD thesis work. And this is looking nice. 10 years back, this type of technology was not there, you couldn't have shown it. Now I can show it, what vividly is happening. Okay, now I'll stop. Acknowledged journal, they have put it in their cover page. So in the world now, it is recognized that model what Mallik's lab has given is accepted worldwide. So what you take in the book, it is like that. And you can do it. And all done here in this JNU lab. And people like you. You missed your finishing PhD, MSc, and then joining us PhD, and this is how it has been done. How? See here, this is about 2-3 years back. This is a paper where you see these. Who are here? Mallik's work. Based on our work, they have done further extension. This is a thesis. See here. All our work based on that, they have done their PhD. This student in Georgia. One of the most important pieces here, let me explain, and how satisfying it is, and how basic science helps clinical studies. It is 2010, 2 years back. One fine morning, I just received an email from Germany that I am a pediatrician in my ward. There is a patient, so and so disease. The person and the nature of the patient is about like you, not little younger, 14, 15 years. The child shivers or child sweats even at environmental temperature of 16 or 17 degrees. When we shiver, when we put on clothes, the child sweats like what we do in 30, 35 degrees. And the other thing is the blood noradrenaline level is than normal. Now that doctor is writing to me that we have been following your paper. Can you help us to treat this patient? Because you work on monitoring sleep and temperature. So whatever reason I wrote to, first thing I was very scared now. See, if somebody asks him to get with responsibility, what will you say that? Then I said, give me a few days time. After 3-4 days time, I said, okay, because of these reasons, I will do this. Prompt comes the response. He was precisely doing that based on that type of our study. Not that my response. Before that, he was treating. He was taking further my advice. But he then said, we have been doing like that only what was suggested. Because he was reading my paper and all. Then he said, okay, we are writing the paper. Can you help us to write the paper? And we will be grateful if you also become an author. And this is the courtesy. So initially I said, it is not my work. He said, no, you please correct this and become one of the authors. So we did that. That's a different issue. Thing is, if you do sincerely, you never know where from somebody will pick up and how your thing can contribute for global some mankind benefit. Alright? So